let's get to the good stuff. You don't know me, but after a few minutes of watching this video, I can guarantee you're going to hate me. And at first, the thought of pissing off tens of thousands of people in one fell swoop kind of bothered me. But hey, comes with the territory. Now before I go and turn this whole little party upside down, you've got to first promise me that you can handle the truth about why you're failing online so consistently. Because sadly, it's got nothing to do with people like me, and everything to do with you. Now you may not like to hear that, and that's a good sign you don't belong here. Parting ways is probably the best thing for both of us. You know, I'm not a big fan of emotional breakups. Then again, some of you will weather the storm and stomach the bruised ego. You'll come out a better man or woman, and more importantly, when it's all said and done, you'll have in your hands the exact same system I've been using day in and day out to keep my account looking like this, instead of like this. Ugh, I know that second image hurts to look at. Let me guess, that's because this second image looks a lot like your account. Or in other words, you're still struggling, or more accurately, failing online. And you're failing quite mightily, if I may say so. Now I know everyone says it's not your fault you're failing online. They'll convince you that you just weren't told about the shindig, or that whiz-bang method. Well, you know what? I've had just about enough of that talk. If your account still looks like that, it is your fault, and it's 100% your fault. Look, if you keep buying the products that don't work, and then buying another product with the same sales pitch and it doesn't work, you're the source of your failure. If you keep trusting in pseudo-gurus whose names popped up last week with no track record and no real credibility to their name, well, the only person to blame is the man in the mirror. Let's face it, you're unlucky. Scratch that. You're one of the most unlucky SOBs I've ever come across in my short life. You know how I know? Because look at this graph. This is all the money whizzing by you online. Because you're still searching for good ways to make it all work. Here you are, in the greatest industry in the world, with the most money ever available to the little guy in history. And what are you busy doing? Learning from charlatans, buying up biz-op offers, who don't give two damns about how your bank account or how your credit card looks when they're through with you. You don't have any clue who to listen to. And the world is simply not kind to those who don't do their homework. That's precisely why I needed to create a system for you today that has nothing to do with luck. And here's another thing you've got going for you. With me, things are different than what you're used to. Very different. And that's because I stand behind my products to ensure everybody who does business with me winds up in the green, not in the red. You come near me, we do business together. You wind up with more money in your pocket, not less. It's my personal credo. It's my mission statement. It's what I live by. Don't buy it? Look me up, Justin Mickey, and see for yourself. Now, I want you to understand, I've created a system, the only system past or future that anybody can profit with today, no matter what your skill level, no matter what your history is online. Without Google, paid traffic, without JVs and connections, without content, without a list, without any of the stuff you'd think you'd need. But the only way you'll ever get anywhere near it is if you man up. Stop blaming gurus for your problem. Heck, I've seen so much guru bashing lately, I feel like I'm watching an episode of The Hills. You know what? Everybody should just shut up about the gurus. If you're bashing a guru, you're bashing me. And some of us really do make a hell of a lot of money online. You see, a guru is likely somebody that's actually been where you've been and found their way out of it. You want to learn from aspiring actors? You'll get an aspiring actor's salary. You want to learn from me and the systems I use? A guy who, with no marketing budget, went from scratch to building one of the top 10 entertainment businesses in Canada in my first 2 years online. A guy whose published work, Street Smart Internet Marketing, has become the authority in major universities all around the world that professors turn to give their students a window into the world of making money online. A guy whose trainings have helped over 100,000 people from 22 different countries and cranks out new trash-talking online success stories like popcorn. You want to learn from a guy like that? Smart, because you just might start making money like me. There's no guarantees on that, of course, but it's just a wild guess. Capiche? So who am I? Well, I'm Justin Mickey, also known as the real OG, and that stands for the original guru. The guru you love to hate. The guru all the actors are pretending to be. I actually live the lifestyle they can only write scripts about. They wish they had my life, and I don't blame them. Because my life is insanely good, and I don't know too many people who can say that with a straight face. What you're looking at is a life you won't admit that you want, and a life you may walk away with, or walk away from, depending on the choices you make on this page. This is my house, a 7,000 square foot mansion. Man, trust me when I tell you, you don't know the good life until you've lived by the beach. Here's my dazzling wife, Christine, who no longer has to compete with a day job for my attention. Yeah, she actually used to be a successful model. Now from my eyes only. Here are my kids, who've become my full-time commitment. That's the best part. I can do pretty much whatever, whenever. Here's a look at my pool. My Sea-Doo, my ATV, my surfboards. Yeah, some people call them childish habits. Well, I never grew out of them. Habits that aren't cheap, mind you. Don't be so surprised. The internet makes room for luxury when you know how to push its buttons. Now, I wasn't always rolling deep, as you might imagine. So, let me tell you a bit about how I got from a life that was probably a lot like yours to the life I now lead. And unlike a lot of the crap you're hearing online, this story doesn't start yesterday, or even last year. 7 years. That's how long I've been online, making millions. Yes, I said millions. I know I look young, but remember, I started young, making me a bit of a prodigy, I guess. One of the earliest guys to get into the business, and even earlier to catch the software trend. Pretty good foresight for a kid with serious pipe dreams. This was years before the notion of software for traffic took over our industry like the Ebola virus. I was doing software for traffic before anybody thought about software. Now, most of you newbies don't know me, don't even know I've been around. That's okay. Google me and learn that I've released too many products to count, half of which I don't even bother slapping my name on, because I don't need to. My products sell themselves. I've made millions this whole time, quietly. Nothing like the punk kids who had 72 hours of success and spent the rest of their time and money flashing their bling and pimping sports cars. For these kids, their life revolves around showing people how wealthy they are. I'm not out to prove a thing. I'm not your local neighborhood internet marketer. I am off the proverbial grid. I don't even live in the States. I don't have to. Just to rub it in once more, I live in a mansion. I'm married to a model. And I play with my kids all day. That's all I need. So when I became wealthy online, I didn't need to flaunt it to friends. I took off. And that's an important lesson for you. Because just as important as making the money is knowing how to spend it correctly. And that's one of the things you're going to learn if we decide to do business together today. I've been a guru for years. I've seen all the products, every method, many times over. And of course, I've seen the endless pseudo-guru recycling system you're probably familiar with. You know the method. They wrap an already stale technology in a pretty little bow so nobody realizes. It's the same thing you bought last month, last week, maybe even yesterday. Of course, that means the names, the personalities, the faces need to be changed daily to keep the scam running, so people keep getting duped. Me? I'm immune to it all, and have been for years. In fact, I can't even remember the last time I bought an internet marketing product. Listen up, because I'm about to reveal my dirty little secret. I don't know a lot about internet marketing, relative to a lot of these guys you see out there, but I haven't needed to know much, because the real truth is, I've been doing one thing, the same thing, for the past 3 years. This one method has been enough to fund every childhood dream I've ever had. No matter how cool or new these launches look, I haven't even thought to changing it up, or wasting any time on it. I don't watch the videos, I don't even check out the products, because I know from the get-go that nothing, and I mean nothing, will grow my income more than the one thing I've been doing all along. And it will do it passively and powerfully beyond imagination. I've come to learn firsthand that you don't need a lot of methods to be fabulously wealthy. You just need one that works like hell. Whenever you want more, whenever you're in the mood, take it up a notch, making even more. It all started back in 2007. I met a guy on a plane who I wasn't supposed to meet. For now, we'll just call him Mike. We did the usual back and forth plane passenger banter. Eventually, the inevitable, "What do you do?" question came up. It's funny how we both hesitated for a sec. We both kind of had these looks on our faces, like the other would never understand. Finally, the cat came out of the bag. We both do internet marketing. There we were on the runway, two internet marketers just happened to be seated next to each other. One successful, and one pretending to be. I guess I did a good acting job, because he took to me. Turns out this guy was a legend. I'm talking a Hall of Famer. I didn't find out who he was until much later. If you've been around for more than a month, you know him. So we started to get down to brass tacks. This guy was no joke. He knew it all. He started throwing numbers around, crazy numbers. Not to be outdone, I beefed up my numbers a bit, just to keep pace. I don't know why, I guess I had to save face. He was blown away by the coincidence of it all. He was like, "This is nuts, man. This couldn't just be random. I believe in fate." We got put next to each other for a reason. I agreed, although I didn't honestly buy into all that hoopla. But he wouldn't let it go. Mike says, "I'm headed to a meeting. I think you should join us. You up for that?" I had a feeling in my gut that this was a serious moment. I tried to stay cool, so I let a moment pass. Then I obliged. We talked until we landed. We were met by a limo. I gear up for this, thinking I'm gonna make an impression. As soon as we enter the meeting, I immediately realize I'm out of my league. They grill Mike instantly. "Who is this?" "A guy I met on the plane." "Come on, Mike, we don't have time for this." He responded sharply, "He's cool." After that, no questions. We got started right away. Here I was putzing around, eking out my 80K a year. These guys were making that in a week. They were throwing around astronomical figures. I felt pathetic. But then again, this was a high-end mastermind meeting. The bar was stocked, the food was catered. These guys were the real deal. They weren't just making moves, they were dictating the future of the industry. Taking an important lesson from my dad, I kept my mouth shut and just listened. After endless chit-chat and even more bragging, they finally got to the meat of it. That's when liquid gold started spewing like a geyser. They began to break down what they saw as the 4 biggest innovations they were going to be using in the upcoming year. I made sure they were burned into my mind. I wasn't going to forget these. I promised myself that. I can still recite them by memory. They were, number 1, reward-based marketing. This means you set up an automated reward system, so people are hopelessly bribed into continuing to market your stuff for you. You shell out nothing out of pocket. 2, longevity campaigns, which basically means setting up campaigns online that don't just work once. They keep working and growing, paying out on the regular, well into your retirement years. 3, instant traffic sources. Now, I can't reveal these here. This is for customers only. Once you know this, it's pretty much all over. In a nutshell, they described several traffic sources that are almost completely untapped. They've, since that meeting, become about 10 times as big as they were then. And I'm still one of the only dudes out there, happily picking up all the free money being thrown around over here like you're in a Jay-Z music video. It's literally endless. When you hear what the sources are, you'll laugh and cry all at the same time. Laugh that it could be so easy, and cry that you didn't start doing it 10 years ago. We're talking no fees, no gatekeepers, traffic sources where you get your first visitors in 30 minutes flat. Yes, I said 30 minutes. And even though the traffic is completely free, it's some of the most responsive buyer traffic you'll find anywhere. And finally, they spoke about the final innovation they would be implementing that year. And this was the doozy. Number 4, traffic regeneration. This is something you may not have run across yet, but in short, it's a way of taking each visitor and turning them into 3 to 5 visitors. And then it turns those 3 to 5 visitors into 10 to 15 visitors. And this continues for the life of the campaign. I was just in awe of these guys, but I couldn't let them know it. They were exactly where I wanted to be in the next few years. But there was one thing that they had overlooked, and I couldn't believe that they had. A huge blind spot that was totally clear as day to me and somehow totally missed by them. The thought I kept asking myself was, why were they talking about all these methods like they were separate things? Was I stupid? Could I really figure out something that these guys couldn't? Why couldn't something be developed that would tie all of that together into one single system. I was officially on a mission. I got all the ammo I needed. The only issue was coding. To me, coding is basically hell on earth. I can't stand it. But I do have a friend from college who codes just for fun. His name is Todd. He lived about 2 minutes from my house. So I reached out to him. This would be the second time I'd attempted to create software. The last time, I pretty much ignored my wife for a month, and the software turned out to be a bust anyway. That did not sit well with her. It actually became quite the issue. Caused a bit of a rift. But this was too big. We were going to have to make it work. As soon as she heard I was out for another software binge, the wife was none too happy. She warned me, if you ignore me for another month the way I did last time, I may not be here when you get back. She couldn't be serious. So I promised to be home by a certain time each night. Unfortunately, as soon as we got rolling, I almost never kept that part of the deal. I'll admit it, I was addicted to this sucker. Todd loved it. I loved every minute of it. I admit, I can become pretty obsessive. Todd actually started to worry about me. Every couple days, Todd was like, Justin, you really sure you want to keep going? It's pretty late, man. You've got a wife, right? And like a broken record, I'd say, she's cool, Todd. Let's just keep going. This will be epic. Fast forward weeks of late nights, weeks of a neglected wife, she finally had enough. I come home one night and the locks are changed. I can't get into my own house. It was demoralizing. But I realized I deserved it. So I went back to Todd's place. She kicked you out? No, she changed the locks. You need to crash? Yeah, is that cool? Of course, man. So for the next few days, I was on Todd's couch. Rather than going back home the next day and pissing her off again the next night, I just decided to keep working. I was going to stay at Todd's until I finished this bad boy once and for all. Now that I was officially free from my family obligations, as a-holy as that was looking back, I was free and clear to pull 20-hour work days. Todd wasn't so happy about it, but we made the best out of it. Felt like the college days all over again. On one of our many junk food runs, I decided to go to our favorite taco shop. As I get back into the car, I see I have 17 missed calls, all from Todd. I freak out. I was scared something went down, like a serious emergency. I get him on the phone, and he's panting. Dude, get your ass back here, fast. Then he hangs up. I pulled my best Dukes of Hazzard impression on the way back. I haul ass into his place. Todd is covered in sweat, but happy as a clam. He just points at the computer screen. I look. $32,500. We do a couple of bro hugs and a do-si-do. We did it! A few weeks and a cool $30K. Best tacos I ever ate. The next day, I go home. I take a deep breath and knock on the front door. My wife opens the door. She looks amazing. I stood there on the doorstep asking for forgiveness, giving her the puppy dog eyes, flowers in hand. Babe, I love you. I'm such a moron. Please take me back. She's like, flowers, Justin? That isn't gonna cut it. You've been gone for days. Just take them. There's a surprise in there. Inside the bouquet was a little card envelope. Inside, a bank draft for $30,000. She looks up at me right away. It worked, I smiled back. She runs and jumps into my arms. Consider it my apology gift. That was my last night with Todd. The story gets better. Hard to believe, but 3 to 4 months later, I run another campaign. Added another 35,000 people to my email list. This time, I made a profit of about $70,000. The list itself generates an additional $50,000 just that month. It was incredible. Simple. All it took, just mailing out affiliate links with copy and paste emails, because it's totally self-sustaining. It ballooned after that. 2 months later, I moved to Mexico. I was done. I knew for a fact I'd never need to work a normal job again. And guess what? Haven't had to since. That's been 3 years. This software, known as Viral Monopoly, is the only thing really behind my lifestyle. The life I lead and everything else I have is completely due to Viral Monopoly. This year, I'll make another cool 7 figures in just 1 year. Not in sales, but in profits. That goes straight into my pocket. We update the software every month now. It's fully juiced with even more traffic pulling power and even more automation. It started becoming dangerously close to those one-click softwares. You know, the ones all the pseudo-gurus claim to have, but don't? To be totally honest, it's not one click. It's 3 clicks. And 3 minutes to set up. I gave you a minute for each click, just to be generous. How do you like that? Now, to be fair, it's probably going to take you another 60 minutes to get your viral campaign up and running. But that's it. That's the beauty of this system. It's completely viral and will feed off itself automatically. Just set it and forget it. And in 2 weeks, 2 days, or even 2 hours, you can do it again, as much as you'd like. What we have here is the most dangerous automated weapon in internet marketing, revealed for the first time ever. If nothing's worked for you, plain and simple, this is your only hope. By now, you're itching to know how much it'll take to pay your way in. I know most of you are ready to shell out thousands, because that's exactly what it's worth. Why should I really charge anything less than $5,000 for software that's created a reality of my lifelong fantasies? You've seen it. I live a lifestyle of people's dreams. So why do you get it? It's not like you've done anything for me lately. If you can generate anywhere near what I've done with it, dropping $5,000 on this sucker would probably go down as the best investment of your life. $2,000? That would be a steal. I mean, seriously, I've made over 15 times that much with my software in the first big haul. But if you're here because you don't have that sort of cash lying around. I get that. I didn't always either. So what we're going to do today is something different. Instead of charging you what this is worth, I'm going to pretty much eliminate the barrier to entry for just a short space of time. As a real guru, I'm going to give you the real deal. I want you to have what I have here. I mean, it's great to see someone live like I do, but to actually experience it yourself, that's what I want to share. You need this. It's not just about the money. Don't get me wrong. 7 figures a year is nothing to scoff at, especially in your position. This is about the life you get back. Get what I have. Become a newlywed again. Be your kid's best friend. That's what I want for you. Forget stalking every launch, falling for the fake promises. It's time to take your time back. Heard all of this before? I doubt it. But just in case you think you have, I had to come up with a guarantee that would truly blow your hair back. So here's what I got. Love it or leave it. It's a 2-part guarantee. Guarantee numero uno. If you don't make back what you paid in the first 60 days or more, you pay nothing. I told you. Anybody who does business with me winds up with more money in their pocket, not less. That's just the way I roll. Nobody comes out a loser here. Nobody. I can make a guarantee like that. I know exactly how fail-proof I've made this. You've got to try to fail with this. Which brings me to my second guarantee. I guarantee that you've never gotten a product this simple, this powerful in the same place. Now it's crunch time. Nobody knows how long this sucker will last. Not even me. It all depends on how many people the system can handle and how hard you guys drive the software. Safest bet? That if you're watching this today, your time has passed. But if by God's grace you still have a chance, you're a lucky SOB. Here's my advice. If you're even a little bit intrigued by what you heard here today and you want to just learn more, just grab it. You can always return it later. But once you get locked out, you're locked out forever. Mark my words, if you don't, you will be back to me later on, having watched hundreds of others cashing in with the software, begging for me to let you in. And you know what? I won't. Because I hate bandwagoners. So here's what we're going to do together right now. Hover your mouse over that button and realize that what you're about to click isn't a download button at all. It's a reset button on your life. Everything you think about, everything you fill your day with is no longer mandatory once you hit it. So drop the bomb, and on the other side, I look forward to watching you join me in a life where the beach is your home, and your home is a beach. This may just be the one click to make it all happen. Take it from a real OG, original guru. This button will put sand between your toes. You're just one click away from a permanent vacation. That's worth a shot, right?